What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're joined with Matty Mullins of Memphis May Fire. Dude, how you been?
I'm great, man. It's good to see you on here. It's been a long time.
Dude, yeah, last time you came on was for the last album rollout, which was like, oh god, 1 or 2 years ago. I don't even remember at this point.
Definitely two. I mean, maybe even closer to three. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been a while, dude. How's life been in the metalcore world?
It's good. Yeah. It's been great. It really feels like a whole resurgence is happening. I'm sure you've seen and felt it as well. And it's like at shows, even our older fan base is there, but now there's like a whole new generation of metal and metalcore fans showing up, and it just feels like a cool time to be in this world. We're just thankful.
Dude, yeah, and music's heavier than ever. It's weird direction that took place a few years ago, but like it's cool. And I feel like also bands that are doing more of the like obviously like big chorus kind of bands also I think just got a bit more used to doing verses when they like go heavy. It's like just the whole standard of that I think is now a new level. Like even like I always call it like octane core kind of bands that kind of do the more like here's the breakdown, and I'm like sitting here, I'm like, damn, that breakdown's hard as fuck. Like it's kind of cool to see like a lot of music kind of I think go that direction, while still just the point obviously being to make like good big bangers and like catchy songs. And obviously got to give you guys mad credit because dude, these singles have been popping, dude. It's been
Thank
nice,
you
man.
so much, man. Yeah, it means a lot coming from you, and we're stoked. I mean, I know it's a different type of format to release this many singles before an album comes out. But it's just been really cool to see the reaction and for every song to have its own spotlight. And it does feel like every single song has had its own life so far. And that's the goal, right? I mean, it forces us when we sit down to write, it forces us to write 10 singles rather than writing
no filler.
3 singles, and no fillers at all.
Yeah.
And it's been great, man. And pairing every song with a music video gives people, once the album is out, it gives people the ability to watch the record as well as listen to the record, which is a lot of fun. At least we think so.
Yeah, well, that's a process I think some bands have been testing too, like just like a bunch of singles. I mean, that's the way every other scene works. Like it's singles, that's how it should kind of go. But like I like what you said is it gives every song kind of that spotlight, because I don't think many people realize as much as, sure, there's a lot of people that are like, I want, half of the album to not be out before I listen to it. I respect it. I get it. That's the way for some people. They like hearing like one song and then there's like 10 new songs. Like, okay, lovely, right? It's a lot of new stuff at the same time. But also, a lot of people don't realize so many songs on records from the past that are given just as much love as the singles don't get heard. And like, I understand as a musician too, like, that's kind of sucks, when you put just as much love in this song and this song and this song, but it's not the single, so like people just haven't heard it, and it's just kind of the back end instead of, it being one of the songs that deserve that love and deserve that kind of spotlight to just as much as the rest of the tracks, right?
Yeah, at least we believe so, right? And it's not like we're doing this just out of the blue, right? It's very much tied in with how music is being consumed. It's not like it's just us wanting to do this. People are listening to playlists, and that's cool. And playlisting, you put out a record, and it's not like any of the DSPs are going to playlist 10 songs all at once.
Nope.
And
you get one song.
So it's a strategy. It's a strategy, but there's a lot of cool things about it. So much so that we're willing to put up with that as much flack comes our way, as it happens. It's like, even being on multiple tours, leading up to this, where we've been introducing new songs into each set and each tour and kind of like trickling them in and feeling the excitement of those songs one by one, rather than just like going out on the Shapeshifter tour and we're like, here's a bunch of songs you don't know yet. I hope you like them.
Right.
It's just been rad, dude. And Shapeshifter itself, the single, I believe the heaviest Memphis May Fire song yet, has not been performed live and will be performed for the first time on the Shapeshifter tour. And I think my hope is that it's gonna pop off.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and it's cool because I think you guys started doing that, I think, with the last rollout, or like the last album, which was cool to see, because that was still kind of somewhat it's like a newer concept, I'm going to say, to the metal scene, maybe, like, a lot more singles, which I remember even seeing that from a fan's perspective and just being like, oh, that's cool, like, great, like, this is going. And you guys also, like, it was really cool to see you guys like get this like extra second wind of just like a bunch of people listening. That I don't know if you guys concur that too on like the back end, seeing those like kind of numbers come from that last record, but at least seeing from a fan's perspective, it was like, oh shit, like Memphis is going like, this is an extra blow up right now. Like this is kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, we feel it for sure. It's the craziest thing to experience as far in as we are, right? Like 15 plus years as a band to statistically across the board, you know, like our booking agent, our record label, everybody is just like, you guys are the biggest you've ever been.
Yeah.
And it just, I think the pandemic, as obviously tragic as, you know, it was for us, a forced break to only focus on music and make a record that we loved with nothing else happening, just gave us a whole new perspective. And obviously that was the first time that we had Kellen start producing, mixing, and mastering our music, because we were just like, well, we can't travel, and you know, we might as well give you a shot at it. He'd been wanting to do it for a long time,
Right.
and Kellen Trinkle, like he puts a ton of little production things in every song that people don't even realize. And when we send off hundreds of stems to somebody for a mix, they're just like, I don't even know what to do with all this. So giving him the ability to mix and master his own like creation, it's like every one of those songs is like a baby to him, you know, like every guitar tone is different, and he puts so much time into that aspect of things that it just, now that we're in that, it makes so much sense. And I really do think has kind of paved the way for us to continue to grow and continue to give people the music that they seem to be enjoying the most they ever have in our whole career. So it's cool.
Kellen's also a riff machine, and I don't think he gets as much credit as he should for that. He's a fucking wild riff machine, man.
It's tragic, man. I mean, he definitely doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he also doesn't give himself the credit that he deserves. He's super humble, and he's really hard on himself. And he just, like, if you were to ask him, he would consider himself to not be a good guitar player. It is the most ridiculous conversation you would ever have. But he is, Kellen is a genius, and I don't say that lightly. He is, like an actual genius, and music is an extension of his body. He doesn't even listen to music. He listens to talk radio. Right. And he's heavily influenced by all things cinematic. He loves movies and soundtracks of movies. But you know, like he'll just be listening to talk radio about hockey, and then he'll write what you're hearing. And it's just, he's a machine, man. And yeah, I just reap all this benefit being the singer of this band. People like look at me and they're like, this song rules. And I'm like, no, look, it's him, it's Kellen, you know, like he is the flavor of Memphis May Fire that people enjoy. It's not me.
Right. Have you guys, how many years have you guys been to do it? Is it from the start? Like you guys, like 15 years together have kind of been like the, like, I'm going to say like instrumentalist vocalist duet, like in that capacity, but like.
We have. Yeah, we have. It's been more than 15 years now. And it's just, it's crazy. I think back to the first record, the first full length that we did together, Sleepwalking, and us living in the basement of the studio in Seattle. We were working with Casey Bates.
Jeez.
And I had just moved from Washington State to Texas to join the band and get everything going with Kellen. And so we were like living in this small space together, like getting to know each other for the first time. It was the weirdest time and the coolest like growth moments for me. First big opportunity for me musically. Yeah, it's been a long time and it's all been very cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that you back then. I mean, that was Rise Core era, dude. Rise Core era was real and really big, actually. Too. Like,
yeah, and still to this day, like even re-releases that they do on vinyls and stuff just shows the impact that those records had, because to mainstream music and people in that world, it was impossible for them to have their finger on the pulse of what was happening at Warped Tour and what was happening.
Yeah.
You know, like all of a sudden you see these bands from Rise, which was a baby label compared to like Sony and everybody. And you see them at the top of the Billboard charts and you're like, wait, who? Like what band is this? I've never heard of that. And it was a real movement that is very much alive still and had such a big part of people's, you know, like high school years and now those people as adults and their kids, you see them at shows and they're introducing their kids to Memphis May Fire. It's the craziest Nick, it is like the coolest full circle thing to
Right.
be on stage and to see father and son or mother and daughter
Yeah.
just like enjoying the same band. It's crazy, dude.
That's sick, man. Yeah, because there's not. I mean, and I have a lot of bands too that some newer ones, but also a lot that like I don't know, 20 years, 25 years, and like I'm always like, how the fuck do you guys
Yeah.
like in any capacity? Because you have to be family. There's no way at that point you're spending so many hours every year together, stuck together. You know, if you want to or not, that you have to like love each other at that
Yeah.
point, or it's not gonna happen. And like going
Yeah.
in 15 years, like that's a mad props to you guys because that's a trek, dude. Jesus, man.
Yeah, man. It's a lot like family in that like even if you're in a moment of not feeling like you love each other,
Right.
you at least need to respect each
Yeah.
other, to understand each other's buttons, to understand. And honestly, there's so much that you learn on tour as a young band that just ends up being a good life skill in
Hmm.
general, you know, understanding different personalities. And if you are in a new band and you haven't uh, heard of the Enneagram, I highly recommend that you read
Okay.
about the Enneagram. Anybody out there that's starting a band, it's basically numbers 1 through 9 of different personalities and how people perceive them and how they feel like they're perceived. It's really brilliant and
Okay.
fascinating stuff that just ultimately gives you grace for why people are the way they are and for why you are the way you are. And it's just, it's a cool thing all around. So
Damn. I think every almost every band on tour should just bring like even a psychiatrist around just to like just be there and be like, look, guys, it's okay. We're chilling. Let's talk about it.
yeah,
Let's get back on track. 'Cause
it's crazy, man. I mean, there's no like parental figure. There's no
yeah.
boss. There's no anybody to be like the mediator. So when you have a conflict, it comes down to sorting it out, you know, and
Mhm.
learning how to deal with that kind of thing on your own. And especially at a really young age, you know, if you're 17, 18 years old on tour and traveling every day, sleeping in a van and everything,
Jeez.
things can get crazy. And that's why not all bands last, you know, a really long time. And it makes sense.
Mhm.
But when you can stick it out, if the music is worth it, if it means enough to you, and if you have no backup plan, like we had no backup plan,
Right.
then there's a chance for survival.
Right, man. Dude, yeah, that especially back then, like that age of the Warp Tour, Rise Core, Fearless, all the core, Crab
Yeah,
Core, Joey Sturgis Core, like all of it was kind of a really interesting spot, I think, for music, and it's fun because it came right after the era of like the melodic metalcore, obviously like 2005, which would kill switches and the bullets and fucking all of that cool stuff, but that was an era which it seemed like metal got so randomly introduced to mainstream for a second that like I don't know, like how was that, I guess, because you guys were you're such a big band now, bigger than ever, but especially during then, like you guys were definitely one of like the rise core band. When you think of rise core, you're like Memphis is in there along with a bunch of other sick bands. Like how was that for you guys starting out? Like did you guys think it was like a big scene that was about to just kind of blow up in that way, or like how was that, I guess, yeah, for you?
I often wish that I could relive those years, not because I'm not happy about where we're at now, but because
Mhm.
I didn't see it. Like I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
My parents couldn't afford tickets to Warp Tour when I was growing up, so
Mm.
I never went. My first Warp Tour experience ever was 2012, the first day that we played Warp Tour,
Oh
when
wow.
we rolled up and I watched the whole thing being built. And so we walk out on stage and there's maybe a little bit of buzz around the band already, and we have a pretty large crowd. And to me, I'm just thinking, this is what it's like for everybody that gets to do Warp Tour. And I
Yeah.
just felt like lucky to be there. I didn't know that there was a movement happening. I knew that there was other angsty kids like me
Hmm.
that wanted to be a part of something, but for it to be even considered on a mainstream level, or that anybody was recognizing what was happening, was so foreign to me, dude. Like I had no clue. I was just a kid, and I wish that I could go back and know that and just be like, all right, don't take a single thing for granted, because this is a moment in time that is going to live on forever, and it's really special, you know?
Yeah. I think yeah, with because then Warp Tour went away, and that's coming back, which is crazy. And I know they're
Yeah.
like trickling bands, kind of out here and there with what's coming. And that's gonna be such an interesting like era of Warp Tour because now you get like the TikTokers and the Zoomer generation that like didn't grow up with Warped Tour at all. But like probably heard about it, you know, like from their like parents. Like back in my day, we had this thing called Warped Tour. You'd go, it was fucking hot, and you'd go and see the bands, and it was fucking hot, you know, and like boiling. And they're just like, whoa, things of legends. And now kids are gonna be, I guess, exposed to again the new era of Warped Tour, which obviously there was like the new metal new comeback, especially the 2020s. I don't know if there's gonna be a like the Warped Tour core era comes back and like everyone's doing crabcore again, and there's electronica synths in every breakdown. Like I think, I don't know if that will happen in a few years. Maybe if it's like the 20-year cycle, we'll see. But we live in a weird era where that's possible, Matty. It's possible.
Trust me, dude, anything is possible. And I have learned time and time again to not write off anything in regards to, it doesn't even matter. Music, fashion, anything. It's like, it's probably going to come full circle. So, you know, you start seeing people walking around in Jinkos and you're like, no way. And it's like, yes way. You know?
Yes way.
It's crazy, man, for sure. Yeah. If any of these like younger generation kids are like referring to Warped Tour as like a vintage festival or something, right, I'm gonna just lose my mind. They're like, oh yeah, my parents used to go to this, so I'm gonna go check it out. And like, you know, it becomes like this whole thing where there's like outfits for Warped Tour and stuff.
It's gonna happen. I guess
that probably is gonna happen.
It's going to happen, Matty. Come on. Like if it happened with new metal. And also now I'm seeing in like, and it's right there, like MySpace deathcore is coming back, dude. It's coming back hard. All the snares sound like trash cans. Okay? Like it's all the same snares. It's all going, bro. So like, hey, I was with 2005, 2006. There's a few years, brother, until we get to it. But like, I already hear the I just sung Sandstorm, which is not that, but close enough. All right, with like the gated synths coming out, dude. It's gonna happen in a few years.
I mean, dude, if anybody knows, it's you. You see so much of all of this, and so I believe it. I believe it, and honestly, I'm here for it. I'm excited to see resurgence of anything that happened, and you know, for anybody to get to be a part of that again, to re-experience that, maybe something that you thought was gone or dead forever,
right?
Like Warped Tour, for it to come back. It's so. Yeah. Dude, it's so cool. Like I didn't know what my 30s were gonna be like, and I didn't know it was gonna be like this. And I'm happy to be here. That's
dude. Every band's gonna get the swoop back now. Every single vocalist just done. You have to have the swoop, or why are you here? There's no.
As long as they can still grow hair, right? I mean, how many of them are gonna have the swoop with like a bald spot on the crown? You know,
the bald swoop is done. That's it. Next generation of the great crab Korean era, dude. It's gonna be lobster core instead. We're gonna move on to the next fucking crustacean, and it's gonna be an absolute wild time, man. Well, it's
lobster core, dude. That's so good.
Hey, if Warped Tour coming back, it will go. It's gonna fucking happen, I think, and it'll be fun. We'll be sitting here waiting for the, like I said, the gated synths and the followed by dun 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 dun. And we're all for it, man. So why not?
I'm definitely down. I'm down to see it all, and who knows? Maybe we'll dabble in it too. I don't know.
We'll dabble in it. Well, and I also want to talk about this. Obviously, you guys have been releasing a lot of singles. Again, chat, new album out, by the way. Go check it out. Go pre-order it. It's gonna be coming on March 28th, unless I messed up that day. I'm pretty sure Shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Show the homies
you're right.
the love with that. What I love about what you guys were doing, not with the kind of constant single releasing, which I like as a consumer. Like, look, I love listening to just full albums, sure, and finding a few surprises, but also I'm realistic. Also, I don't know, maybe I'm just older. You get busier, so you don't have as much time to like fully, just download every record. So it's nice. Okay, trickled. Here's a song here. Here's a song here, right? But you guys did something I never saw before, which was this music video thing, which was really interesting that I talked with you about, where I was like, dude, you really love that computer room. Like, holy shit. Like, you guys just went for it. And with this rollout of singles, did you guys do something similar? I can't tell, because you guys are kind of wearing slightly different clothes every time, where I'm like, is that the same week? Or like, is it not? Did you guys take the same approach this year for
similar time frame. It's like, honestly, like, just full transparency, music videos are expensive. And they unfortunately don't always generate even the revenue that it costs to make them. So
Yeah.
you're not gonna make the money back that you spend. And so when you sit down, someone like me, who had a conversation with Rise and with Ori McGinnis, and I'm like, yeah, I want to do videos for all 10 songs. And they're like, ha ha. And I'm like, no, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
I want there to be a visual aspect for every song that's not a lyric video. Like I
Right.
want people in foreign territories and even in America that might not ever be able to come to a show for one reason or another to be able to see the songs being performed, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you get into budget calls and they're like, well, you can't afford that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what we could make happen and what I'm stoked on how it turned out is, yeah, like over the same time frame, you shoot you know, we did for this round, we shot everything green screen and then Ori McGinnis creates the worlds kind of as we go. So,
right.
the next song that will come out, doesn't even have a world yet. And that's like currently being made. And we
That's
get to
sick.
kind of do that as we go, which is really cool. But yeah, as far as time frame of shooting, that's another huge expense is that you have a whole video crew and all of their equipment and the lighting and the location of, you know, infinity wall that you use or green screen, you know, room that you use. And that's, you know, every minute counts financially. And so I think we made the most of it, and I'm really proud of how that turned out. And it's fun. It's just fun to like see different worlds and to watch the album, you know?
Right.
But yeah, for me at least, and I don't even know if I'm accurate about this, but to me, it was worth taking the whole video budget and more than what we had and just throwing it into making as many pieces of content as we could so that people could enjoy it in that way.
You spoke my language, but you said the word content. There you go. That's the YouTuber. Is just every YouTuber is just like, huh? What's that? You know, like you said content.
Content.
What's that? Well, yeah, because obviously music videos, and I mean, if you get one for like 10K, you're probably lucky even at that point.
Yeah.
So like 10K, 20,
Right.
30, Jesus Christ for one. And then again, you think of whatever recoup, not including streaming or anything else, but like just like let's say you recoup the visual on the visual, like a YouTube video. You got to get like fucking 5 million views on that YouTube video to like
Exactly.
even out. So that's you know, that's a little risky there. So like especially if you're gonna do 10 songs, obviously that's a really big investment that it's just not gonna happen for bands.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be throwing there, and then just push it all to streaming anyways, which a lot of bands do nowadays. Like great. So I think that's a very smart, conscious thing to do. I'm sure the labels love that idea. I'm sure everyone's just like, yeah, perfect. This is great. You know, so like why not? But it does make way more sense. And then you guys, whatever it might be, again with a band, you have more budgets to just do other fun shit too, instead of smacking it all on a video, which then it gets so sad if one video that you guys, you know, that's the 50K video. Oh no one saw it. Why? It just didn't happen. And then you just sit there and you're just like, wow, that's sad now. Like, fuck, man.
And we have had unbelievably expensive music videos in the past that just didn't hit, you know, like didn't even come close to recouping. And then now money that comes in from album sales or money that we should be using for building production and bringing a bigger show to people, now that's recouping a video that nobody's watching.
Right.
And you just have to think realistically like that. We knew that these songs would get a significant amount of attention after Remade in Misery did what it did.
Yeah.
But still, it's like people don't realize the majority, and I mean 99% of what comes into our band either pays the people that work for us or it goes into bringing a bigger, badder show for people. And that's what the growth of a band looks like. It's like you have to love what you do so much that you're like, I'm going to spend every penny that comes in just continuing to give people more of what we think is cool, you know? And you got to love it and you got to be smart. The music videos and the way that we did it is smart. We could take that same budget and do 3 videos, but then the other songs just have lyric videos to them, and those songs mean a lot to me too.
Yeah, and then there's also expenses for the others, obviously mixing, mastering, production, and you're like, fuck, man, like it's already like we just you go so all out on a few songs, but the other songs are also not cheap to make, you know. So you're just like, it's awkward then, and you're just kind
you're
of
right,
stuck.
and I don't think this kind of stuff is like discussed as widely, and it's like I just realized. We have so many aspiring artists and, you know, people that would like to do the same thing that watch content like this. And I just want them to know, you know, if I leave anything behind from my career, it's like, I want you to know what we did and how you can do it better. so that, people can, just learn from us, our mistakes and also our wins,
Mhm.
And from my perspective, so far, having released singles the way that we are and really giving a quality piece of content for each song has been really beneficial and it has worked. Regardless of what you might read in the comments, it's worked.
Regardless of the comments. Are you a favorite of r/slash metalcore at all, Matt? Do you ever go on the Reddits? It's always a fun area for, especially modern metalcore bands. I feel like for some reason r/slash metalcore is just like so fun and toxic and weird and just like I don't even know. I get most of my news there at this point, but I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
guys, come on, guys, like chill the fuck out. Like
Dude, yeah, it might just be my age showing, honestly. I've never been on a single Reddit.
Can we get some
I
claps
think
from That's healthy. This is healthy. This is a
Yeah.
healthy moment to celebrate right here. I've never been on Reddit. Oh my god. That's
Yeah, I don't know if I was going there, I think I would walk away with one of two things. I would walk away with maybe my ego boosted, or I'd walk away with my dreams crushed. Depending on who's writing what, right?
Reddit. It doesn't matter how good of a band you are in any capacity. It will be this. It will always be the second one.
Okay.
I had to for Reddit, and that's why I have a fun relationship with Reddit. I made my own hate thread just so at least they'd get the shit talking right after 11 years. Right? I literally went on there. I'm like, guys, look, if you're gonna do it right. Don't half-ass your shit talk. And at that point, me and Reddit have we have a mutual understanding. It's a bit of a toxic relationship, but it's fine. We get along enough, right? Where it's
Yeah.
fine. But Maddie, don't worry, man. You don't make the Reddit account. Like
I have no intention to or desire. If anything, like I would like to start to be less present on all things internet as time moves on. But yeah, no, I don't see any benefit or value. I think that the comments that are in places like that are for the people who read the comments for entertainment. It's really like in terms of what we do and the work that we're putting in, like I need to be writing and recording music while you're saying what you're saying in the comment section, like otherwise I don't have time to do what I need to do. So it's like comment away, more power to you guys, all the Reddits, if that's how you say it, Reddits. And yeah,
Maddie, come on, we're from it's MySpace era. We're not that old, brother.
Yeah.
We still don't have a MySpace account, man. It's not from the 70s, brother. We still goddamn kids with your Reddits nowadays, if that's how y'all do it now, man.
Yeah, dude, I am that uneducated on Reddit, and I don't know. I think
should MySpace come back? MySpace at one point should come back. Like
I think it was sick, dude. I thought it was really cool that you could it was so customizable.
Right, yeah.
Like if you knew basic HTML, you could have the sickest looking, took 2 hours to load because you put way too much stuff on a page, and everyone was still like on dial up. But yeah, that was a cooler time for social media, in my opinion. You just had more, and there wasn't like the algorithm thing hadn't started, and so what you sent out there was seen by the people who wanted to see it.
If you had a million followers, you had a million people that saw that. That was it. Now
that's insane, and to think that it's all just like monetized now, and people are being tricked into not seeing the things that they're following is crazy, but we don't even need to go down that path.
We don't need to go. Did you ever fuck with MSN? That was my favorite. I liked MSN way more than MySpace because MSN was like fun, but also had so many weird features. Remember the nudge thing? I don't know if you used MSN where you like would nudge the fucking. You would click this button. It's the most annoying button in the world if someone wasn't paying attention to you and you were like typing to them. And you'd hit nudge and it'd make their whole screen shake and your message would just pop in front. They're like, you have to deal with this now. It had so much really annoying and fun, stupid features like that I miss the MSN days. But like,
I think I just missed out on that altogether. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that there was a platform called MSN.
Maddie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, now that Warped Tour is coming back, obviously there's going to be a MySpace revival. Maybe MSN would Yahoo Messenger. Someone in chat, not Yahoo Messenger. It was not superior. Come on, chat, relax. Okay, but that's all. It could come back. I think MySpace still exists. Like if you type in myspace.com, but like it's just fucking weird. Like it's
It's a
nothing.
wasteland. It's got to just be a wasteland.
It's
Like,
it's a weird, like, last time I went on was like a couple years ago, where it seemed like a journalist news website for a second, and I was like,
whoa.
is this still is this MySpace? Did I click
I
like,
would be scared. I would be scared to go to it. Like it's like uncharted territory. Like
oh
it's
yeah.
like, well, if someone is there, it's
Yeah.
not the kind of person you want to interact
Yeah,
with.
chat said bring back LimeWire. No more viruses on the fucking computers. No more. Do not bring back LimeWire, please God. Okay.
Yeah.
No one needs that.
Let's not do LimeWire. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, download a Memphis song and it's actually just like 50 Cent throwing down, and you're like, no, this is not what I downloaded, dude. Like, what the fuck? We do not
or
need
something from like Rotten or whatever, where it's just like something you should not be seeing as a child, you know, like a death or whatever, and you're just like, what did I just want? My life is ruined because someone put this file in this thing, and now I got to go to counseling for the rest of my life.
Go to counseling.
No more LimeWire.
Yeah, no, none of Loudwire. You know, MySpace come back. All right, we're chilling. MSN would be cool, but like, let's keep going, dude. Yeah, when it comes to, I guess, music, obviously it's evolved so much, and I think the 2010s were such a pivotal moment of like bands figuring it out, like so many bands figuring it the fuck out, because 2005 and 2000s, like that was the melodic metalcore. Then then there was the Risecore, Crabcore, all the cores. I don't fucking know. And then it was Gentcore, and then it was like, what's happening now? Every band is kind of figuring it out. Some bands are trying to only do the big choruses and the sad songs. Some bands are trying to do kind of heavy, but in this weird abstract way. And the 2020s kind of come around. Everyone's pissed, and I think kind of figured it out. I don't know. But I feel like nowadays music, and especially, like I said, leaning to like the more bands where it's modern metalcore based, it sounds really good. I think a lot of modern metalcore bands are gotten better. And thank God, I fucking love the Doomsday riff, but like, we don't need any more of just the Doomsday riff. Please fucking God. Okay. But I feel like a lot of bands have, I think, gotten better at that approach. And I think a bit more also open-minded to how they're able to genre fuse, but I think they're better at it, which is really cool.
Definitely. There's been growth. Absolutely. Yeah, I think like with each one of those, you know, kind of like genre shifts that you had mentioned, I think there was bands trying things and not realizing that they were at the forefront of some new movement, and then it just became another movement. And with social media, MySpace, and everything else spreading information so quickly, they're just all of a sudden now there's this whole local scene of bands that are in that, you know, realm, and it just grew and grew. And so now you have these bands that were at the forefront of these different genre niche moments. And, you know, if they're reintroducing those things, it's not even necessarily intentional, but more so like, this is just what we did. You guys want some more of it? Like, the label said this is back and we have a budget to make a record. So what do you want it to sound like, you know?
Fuck you.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like I was saying about Warped Tour and what we were a part of, and not understanding how big the movement was. I think that's the same for most artists that just were there. We're there at that time and making the music, and now, you know, any aspect of it that we get to relive, there's an opportunity for even more gratitude for how many people were impacted by the music. It's a really cool time, man.
That's great, because I think a lot of bands too that came from, I don't know, one of those eras, when they got older, obviously they matured, and it's some bands would be like, let's forget we don't really need that stuff anymore. And I think it's cool to see nowadays a lot of bands actually really embracing their kind of old catalog, and like being like, oh yeah, that first record we did, like, we were kids, we had no idea what the fuck was happening, but like, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of fucking rips, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And like, it's cool to see bands, I think, celebrate that more, instead of it be just this like, we were just young and stupid, so don't listen to the young stupid kids. Now we're adults, so we make adult music, you know what I mean? And that's, I feel like, can be sometimes disconnecting to like fans, whichever fucking scene it is, where it's like people just want cool fucking bangers. And I love that. I think now, like I said, the scene, and it seems like Memphis too, like I hear you guys' whole catalog now when I hear your guys' new singles. Like, it's not like, it's an evolution of your guys' catalog, which I think is really cool. And I don't know if you guys feel that way too, or if that's something you're conscious of, or
we do. We just don't know if everyone's going to pick up on it. And so to hear you say that is really cool, man. Like, for anybody that knew of older Memphis music to listen to our new stuff and say that they can feel the spirit or the heart of, you know, like early Memphis inside of it, it's not unintentional. It's intentional, and we just didn't know if anybody was going to pick up on it. And it's really cool
Yeah.
to see and to hear people enjoying that aspect of things. And um, we have never been able to, and we never will be able to make you 16 years old again,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like we can't put you back in your first car. We can't take
Mm-hmm.
you back to your first kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these things that when people are like, why don't you write music like The Hollow or like Challenger? It's like what they're really saying is, can you please put me back in the body of that person that was experiencing all this crazy new stuff for the first time ever? And it's like, no, that's impossible. If we had a time machine, like we would do that, and that's awesome. But right now, what we can do is we can write the music that we write at this age and
Right.
incorporate all of those like fun elements from when we were there, and
Yeah.
hopefully at least through nostalgia bring you back to that person, and so that you can enjoy those things all over again.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've done with our last two records, and it's proved to be something that people I think were looking for from us. And it's just, yeah, it's cool. It's cool when people pick up on it. It's
Yeah.
cool when people enjoy it.
The Hollow goes hard, Matty. The Hollow.
Thanks, dude.
Do you have any Memphis records where you go back and like maybe you haven't listened to them in a minute? Well, I mean, you're on tour, so I probably have to play them or whatever. But like, where you go back
Yeah.
and you're like, okay, like this kind of fucking bangs. Like, it's okay. I get it. I see what like teenage Matty and the boys were thinking. Like this kind of goes hard.
It's hard. It's really hard to be so much older now. And like when I think about it, like you were saying earlier, I was so young making that record
Yeah.
that it's hard for me to listen to it and have any respect for it at all. Like I see
Right.
like an 18, 19-year-old kid like making a record.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, why is this album master? Why is this album peaking the entire time? Like why are we ruining earbuds with this album because of how it was mixed and mastered? And like,
Right.
and did you really need to go to that note there? That doesn't make any sense. And why did you add that vocal run? Like Emarosa was cool, but you were not Emarosa. Why were you trying to do that? You know what I mean?
You're right. Right.
And so, yeah, I still see it. I see it from the perspective of myself, but I try so hard to put myself inside the shoes of somebody who is an adult now that is just wanting to get back to feeling the way that they felt when that record came out. And that's really what people are saying. And if you enjoy the songs as well, I'm genuinely surprised and I'm excited about that. That's cool too.
I'm surprised, but like that's amazing. like
Yeah.
that's weird. Yeah, man. And I don't know what I haven't seen you guys on tour in a minute. I gotta see you guys play live actually. Oh my god, it's been a few years. But do you guys what's your guys kind of set list usually looking like nowadays? Is it a bit of a mix of everything or like
It is, yeah, yeah. We always bring back songs that we know, are essential to every set list. There are songs that we will never abandon from a playlist, like The Sinner. The
Right.
Sinner, that song was such a impactful song for us as a band when people were discovering us. And so we'll always play that song. You can just count on it. And then for Meet and Greet this time, we're actually going to be doing a thing where people come in and get to hear songs that would not make it into the set list at
wow.
soundcheck.
That's cool.
Because there's a lot of songs that even might have done fairly well, but will not fit in an hour and 15-minute set. And so we're going to give people the ability like to have a poll and choose songs and say like, we want to hear That's Just Life or whatever song that's not going to be in the set.
Yeah.
And we'll just rip it for them at soundcheck so that they can at least see it live. And I think that'll be a really cool and fun way to do that. But yeah, this tour will certainly be Shapeshifter focused,
Yeah.
which I don't think anybody's going to be bummed about. The reception of the songs has been cool.
Mm.
And, and then also you're definitely going to hear the core Memphis stuff that you expect to hear and maybe even then some.
Right, the core Memphis. If you had to describe Memphis with a specific core in any capacity, what is the word before core?
Barbercore.
What? Barbercore? I mean, you guys all got the nice. You're all.
That's just that's like an inside joke, and I've seen that people say that too, and it's funny. But no, I would say like bounce core because Kellen has always had I don't even know if it's intentional, but everything that he writes riff related, and Kellen was a drum major as well before he even started playing guitar. So he writes drum stuff for us as well. And everything about Memphis has this, either it's a really obvious bounce or it's a subtle bounce. But our music has a bounce to it that is the flavor. It is the essence of Memphis May Fire. And if you listen for it, you'll definitely see. And there's a lot of people that just already know that as well and have pointed that out. But Yeah, bounce core. Let's
Bounce
go
core,
that
dude.
that
Let's
route.
go with bounce core, dude. Yeah, I'm glad like groove is obviously such an important thing, especially nowadays. And what I love bands doing a lot of bands are doing like this like dance mixture too, which is I mean
Yeah,
obviously when it comes to bouncy music and everything, there's so much electronics nowadays in music. Like every guitar is layered with a synth. Like it's just how it is. Like
yeah,
that's the new rule. It's the new age, right? Like it's gonna happen.
yeah.
So this dancey, almost club-esque vibe is very accidentally alive in, I think, especially like the modern metalcore scene, where it's like you can't escape it, even if you're not there to make like a nightclub banger. I think modern like metalcore bands now are just like you could probably play it most of the songs at a nightclub and like it wouldn't be that weird. Like it would
Yeah,
kind of
right.
work.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. I love the blurring of those lines, man. Like I love hearing any band experiment and bring stuff together that you wouldn't have expected. And you're very right about synth being blended in with riffs and everything. It's like there will always be progression of mixing to making something sound fatter.
Yeah.
And like everyone's sitting in their room trying to write something like, how did they make that sound like that? It's like, well, it's like 35 guitar tracks is how it's done.
Yup.
But yeah, it's definitely like you take away enough of like the core elements of any like metalcore song right now, and you're left with a dance club song
Dance,
that
dance
anybody
club.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a new song. There's a song on our new record that is called Verses. That I don't know if the label sent you the whole record yet or not, but I'll have them send it to you. But it is there is not a single soul on the face of this planet that is expecting that song from us, and it gets me
Okay.
really excited. So when you talk about genre blending, we did a whole with that song. It's not even. It is so far removed from anything we've ever done, and it was
Right.
really fun and funny, and then exciting, and then really cool to make. Like I thought Kellen was joking when he sent me the instrumental,
Right.
and then I was like, wait a minute, are we really doing this? And then it became this introduction for the final track on the record, and it just really worked out beautifully. And somehow, some way, it is Memphis May Fire, but not a single person is expecting it. So
Okay.
it'll be cool.
I love that you said you guys laugh, because that's something I've noticed a lot more with musicians. And I love that is where they're saying, we wrote this and we started laughing because it was so insane. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that's so healthy. Thank God that's happening more, because I feel like
Yeah.
there's so much time where obviously musicians are very professional and serious at, when it comes to the studio and their time and writing stuff, right? And you always want to mature properly and all of that, of course, right? But there's something inherently primal and fun when you just hear something so out there and you're just like, what the fuck?
I would say
you know?
my initial reaction to any breakdown of Kellen's that I hear for the very first time is I laugh.
Right.
And it's almost like a whoa, like how did you think of that? Like it's just like the how random and chaotic and insane this one part is in this song. I'm just like, where'd that come from, dude? Are you okay? And I'll usually have a little bit of a giggle, and I'll usually like any new stuff or whatever, it'll be me and Cody in my car like jamming it together,
Right.
and we'll look at each other like, is he all right? Like that's insane.
Someone's got to check on the homie. Man.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, I mean, man, just laughing. You're so right. It's so important. There's things that you inevitably have to take so seriously, and then everything else I would recommend take it as not seriously as possible.
have fun, man. I think that's when it always comes down to it, right? And I love, like I said, seeing
Yep.
musicians. I think it's been a big resurgence of a lot of musicians having more fun when they're writing, and I love seeing that. That's great. That's so healthy. It should be that, because it bleeds straight to the listeners and to people like fans. Like
Definitely.
they can hear that. They can hear in the studio that something crazy, something crazy happened, and you guys were having the time of your life probably. It seeps through music when that happens, and I love that's a thing no matter which band. Like I know I talked even with had Brian from Knocked Loose, and they were doing crazy shit, and they were same kind of thing, writing stuff, and something was just so ridiculous that we were like, well, yeah, obviously, like I just this is hilarious. Who knows what people are going to think? And it turns out to be like their biggest tracks that happen. You know what I mean? And I love
So cool.
bands doing that kind of stuff, and it's like, thank God, hopefully more of that. And even what I love seeing nowadays too is like radio. I just call it octane core always. Is like it's kind of heavy and like it kind of trips me out when like I'm listening to octane kind of core, and there's a whole song and everything is layered with synths, and like the guitars are always 50-50 split, pitch shifted and whatnot, and I'm like, okay. And then there's always some kind of crazy breakdown, and I'm like, something has happened in the past couple years that I can't explain myself, where I was like,
That's one thing that I saw coming that I knew was inevitable. It was that when we were starting to play festivals like Download or like Soundwave in Australia or whatever, and you're there with Metallica and Linkin Park and everything, and all the bands on the smaller stages were heavy and had breakdowns and things like that, and you're just like, well, who's gonna headline those stages in 10 years?
Right.
Like when those bands can no longer headline those stages, who's going to headline? And it's like, well, it's going to be heavy bands.
Yeah.
And when the bands at radio that are writing radio rock music that doesn't incorporate breakdowns or heavy guitars or any, of those aspects, it's like when they're gone, what's it going to be?
Yep.
And radio programmers are definitely leaning into, there's definitely some rules. It's like, you can't bring this aspect into radio because you're just going to literally offend people's ears, right? But
I can think of a few songs, Matty, that will do that. Yeah, that's understandable.
There is a lot though that is slowly being introduced and honestly like allowed. Like the gates are kind of opening and you'll hear more and more heavy music. And Octane is really great and responsible for even some of the more some of the other stations that are not XM stations being like, oh, okay, like you're playing that and your rock listeners are accepting that. They're like, maybe we'll sprinkle some of that in here.
There's screaming and chugs, the below drop D that these people are okay with. Like, are you sure? There's double kick. Like, that's insane, man.
Definitely. I mean, man, when you look at like who is going to be headlining these massive festivals in the future and everything, it's like they definitely. Yeah. It's going to be that, man. I mean, the headlining slots are going to continue to get heavier and heavier and heavier. And it's happening at radio, it's happening at fests, and it's cool, man. It's cool to see it because there's no other way. Like this is where it's gonna go.
Yeah, dude, that's exciting. And again, I like that bands I think are open to be like, all right, let's just make a Dumbo banger, like heavy as fuck for no, like let's just go, let's see what happens, and then sure, let's make like the more chill, catchy song or like a Deftonesy song or like whatever. There's so many different types of genre bending nowadays that it probably feels a lot more freeing. And I don't know if you can also agree with that as obviously a musician that's been doing this for so long, where like there doesn't seem to be as many rules as there was like, I don't know, even 5 years ago when it comes to songwriting.
Yeah. And even like more expected for there to be some experimental aspects of things.
Yeah.
I think that the general public and especially people in the comment section, when they hear a song that might be considered octane core or whatever, they're like, oh man, like they sat down and they were like, how can we betray our fan base? And it's like, or like, we got to make this song not heavy. Like we got to make this song not heavy or whatever the idea is or whatever. And it's like, no, like there might be songs similar to that inspired us or that we like. And maybe we really want to, like, as a band, explore a song that it's like, are we hiding behind breakdowns?
Right. I love that sentence. Are we hiding behind breakdowns?
Are we putting a breakdown in every song just to make sure that you give it a thumbs up? And if we're doing that, then are we being authentic? And if this song doesn't need a breakdown, if you get all the way to the end of the song and you enjoyed it as the writer, right? Without there being a big heavy moment, that's okay.
That's okay sometimes, guys.
And we enjoy it, and we're enjoying what we're writing. And so it's like, I promise you, we love heavy music just as much as everybody else, and we love breakdowns just as much as anybody else. This is an exciting moment in every song. Right. It's very fun live, and it is important and essential to so much of our music. But if we were to put out a song that didn't have that in it, it would be that we were saying we felt like it was that it was not needed. And if we're putting something in our music that's not needed just to be there because we think you need it to be there, then we're not being authentic. Yeah. So
that's fair, man. Don't always need breakdowns. Don't always have breakdowns. Mental ones specifically too. Don't need that stuff.
True. No hate on breakdowns. I gotta reiterate, we love it, but not every song needs it. And be careful not to just write songs off that don't have breakdowns in them. Because maybe there's something that you can enjoy that you have yet to enjoy just because you're stuck.
This was way more philosophical of a finisher off than I thought this was going to be, talking about metalcore and MySpace. But there you go. Don't hide behind breakdowns, and don't have too many mental breakdowns, and enjoy beautiful music. I love that.
I could do without less with less
with
mental
less
breakdowns as well. Yeah,
there
for
you go,
sure.
guys. Chat. Memphis may fire a new record. Shapeshifter out March 28th. Go show the homies the love. Listen to the singles, and obviously go pre-order the record and show the homies a good time. Matty, dude, thank you so much for coming back on the show, shooting the shit. I know it's been a few years, man, but thank you for just coming to hang out, talking to a bunch of core kids, and just talking about music and fucking life and all that, man. Is there anything else you want to tell the listeners, the Memphis fans, the Matty fans, before you peace out? Any surprises that you can say that everyone won't get mad, because you're probably not, might not want to, spoil, I don't know, plans or tour plans or whatever it might be. Feel free. Here's the stage.
I got to be careful, man. Yeah, I can get hyper and just be like, guess what?
Everything. Yeah, please don't make management mad.
Yeah, but I do need to be careful. Yeah, we have a Shapeshifter tour coming up, and and then we're gonna be. First of all, I'm on tour with Amberlin for the Never Take Friendship Personal 20-year tour, and then we have Shapeshifter tour. So those are back to back for me. And then Memphis is going to Australia on a co-headliner with Atreyu.
That's it.
And then we're doing Amberlin is doing like some South America stuff, I believe. And then there's a lot of other things that have not yet been announced. Okay. But there's one thing in particular that we've been asked if we're a part of many times. And
I wonder what it is.
Yeah. And we're excited for you to find out what the answer to that is very soon. And Nik, thank you so much for having me, dude. It's always a pleasure. And you're very knowledgeable. You're very good at what you do. And it's always it's an easy and good time to be here. So
thank you, brother. I appreciate you coming by again. Matty of Memphis. Go show the homie the love. Thank you, dude. Have a beautiful night. Thanks for coming hang, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. You too. We'll see you.
Have a good one.